Well, as a senator from one of the states that was a part of the original colonies, I'm glad that we did the hard work to lay the groundwork for Alaska to become a state. This whole banter back and forth between my buddy Senator Sullivan and I came from a discussion where Senator Sullivan is a fierce advocate for Alaska. That's why I like him so much. But he made a comment that he has a higher population per capita of veterans than any other state in the nation.
That's true.
And I told Dan, I got more veterans than you got people, which is also true.
That's true too.
But the reason I say that, I mean, on the one hand, it's just fun to banter between two buddies, but on the other hand, it also demonstrates the diverse nature of the challenge that we have. You know, a state like North Carolina that you rightfully tell me is several times smaller than North Carolina with these number of veterans and urban centers, different provider networks, have very different approaches to providing quality care and access than Alaska. And so we have to, as we implement the Mission Act and as we implement tweaks to it, we need to make sure that we don't come across with this concept that it's a one-size-fits-all approach. We also need to make sure that we are doing a better job of working with the states to overcome some of the hurdles that are in part limits of state policy on health care, telemedicine across state lines, those sorts of things where we've got to provide an incentive for the states to get engaged to provide a better standard of care. There's no reason if someone in Alaska needs help and it's a service that can be provided through telemedicine, let's just find a professional somewhere in this great country that can provide them that telemedicine. So we need to just continue to hone and provide, I think, some reasonable solutions to some kinks that we're going to have in the Mission Act. One other thing I'll tell you in terms of attracting talent to the VA is we need to make sure we send a very clear message that we've got some kinks to work out, but it's a good system. The brick and mortar presence is critically important. I don't believe there's anybody in Congress who seriously thinks that we should just completely privatize and leave for the private sector to serve our veterans. It would be wrong because you'd be walking away from an extraordinary health care and institution that's dedicated to veterans. So what we need to do is make sure that while we rightfully point to things that need to get better, we also point out there's a lot of hardworking people in these VA healthcare facilities. About half of them are veterans themselves. They care about the care that they're giving to people, and it's an honorable profession that we just need more people. We need more doctors, more nurses, more therapists, more people coming into these facilities so that we can eliminate the wait times and all the other challenges. In my remaining time, Commander, I happen to have the privilege of being on the Veterans Committee, but I'm also the chair of the Personnel Subcommittee in Senate Armed Services, so TAP is right in my lane. And I think that one thing that we are going to do, I've spoken with the committee staff, is that we really do need the veterans' perspective on how better to prepare someone to transition to veteran status. And I do believe that in some cases it's a check the box, in some cases it's a one-size-fits-all. You know, somebody as old as him going through TAP is going to have a different set of needs than some 20-year-old. So we've got to figure out how to tailor and identify ways that we're really beginning to focus on the likely challenges and opportunities someone's going to have based on the skills that they've gained while they served and the challenges that they're going to have when they transfer or when they ultimately transition into veteran status. So we need a lot of feedback on how to do that better, particularly going into the NDA and going into this Congress. Suggestions that you all could provide us would be very helpful. Suggestions that you can provide us for employment, which again, in many instances, is going to be taking some of the skills that someone's gained and either in active duty reserves, National Guard. I guess in the case of reserves, National Guard, they have occupations, but others may be able to take skills that they've learned while they're serving that should translate into certifications and jobs that right now are a little bit difficult. Again, most of those are the purview of the state. We can provide some incentive for states to enter compacts so that it's easier for someone with medical experience to move into a nursing field or a CDL driver's license or any number of skill sets that they're prepared for in their service, and that we should find a way to get them employed and make them productive in their post-service life. So I'm here to thank you all, and I'm also here, ranking member and chairman. I'd like to make one suggestion. I don't know if they're here, but this morning when I was walking in, it was cold. And I happened to see two gentlemen waiting in line. I went up and said, you here for the hearing? Yes. You a veteran? Yeah. You cold? Yeah. I said, you want to skip line? Yeah. So I brought them in. If we're going to continue to, and there they are. So, and I think a week ago, I probably had about 40 come through because they happened to be all in line at the same time. I would urge, if we're going to continue to have these hearings during cold weather months or inclement weather, that we try to figure out a rally point with your home states or with other members so that we can figure out how to get these people through, because I don't think these folks should have to wait in line. Thank you.